On foreign policy, I advocate, and many Americans agree and understand it quite clearly, that we should have a foreign policy of non-intervention. We should mind our own business. And quite frankly, it's a lot more popular than a lot of people realize. Today, you would never know it, but Republicans over the years have benefited by taking the position of avoiding or getting us out of wars rather than getting us into wars and spreading wars. Even as recent as the year 2000, the president was elected advocating a humble foreign policy and advocating non-intervention, no nation building, no policing of the world. That's very popular. Peace is popular, and it should be the most important issue that we deal with in foreign policies. There's no reason that we can't strive for peace rather than saying war is necessary. So few wars are really necessary. It's when you're attacked and when your liberties are being destroyed by your own government or by a king. Today our national debt, or the next generation's national debt, is going up at a rate of $500 billion a year. And we're spending excessively domestically and internationally. And it's rather ironic that we have to borrow still almost $3 billion a day just to keep this going. And this will come to an end. And I would like to end it more gracefully than with an economic calamity and the destruction of the dollar, which means that we could immediately save a lot of money without throwing anybody out in the streets, without attacking any social programs, by just saying, let's change our foreign policy. Let's bring our troops home. We've had our troops in Korea for more than 50 years. We've been in Europe since World War II. We're expanding the number of troops we have in the Middle East, and it seems like it will never end. And if I thought for a minute that our country would be less protected, that we would be less free, we would have to consider, this expansive militaristic attitude. But it makes us less free by doing this, and we're much better off if we defend this country, bring our troops home, and be friends with people and not fight with them. Of intervention, believing that we can impose our will on others, was the war in the 1960s, the Vietnam War. I was called to duty in 1963. I ended up serving 5 years in the military at the height of the Cold War. It was during the Cuban crisis that I was called, but eventually, shortly thereafter, we got deeply involved in Vietnam. A real tragedy as far as I'm concerned. Seeing it and experiencing it back then and looking at the policy now. Here we were, we went halfway around the world. We lost 60,000 men. We were going to tell the Vietnamese what they had to do and how to live and how they could be westernized and become capitalists. And it didn't work. They resented us. And we lost and we left. What's happening today? We're investing in Vietnam. We're getting along with them. We trade with them, and they're more westernized than ever. The founding fathers of this country were correct. Trade with people, talk with people, be friends with people, travel. But bring the troops home, bring the military home, and don't use force to try to tell other people how they have to live. With a policy like that, we really don't need global government. We really don't need the UN. We could really get out of the UN. And if we did that, we certainly wouldn't need to be in the WTO, the IMF, the World Bank, NAFTA, and all the rest. Non-intervention is a good policy, not only internationally, but it's good domestically. I believe in non-intervention in the economy. There's a precise role for the government in the management of an economy. People can't steal, they can't harm other people's property, they have to fulfill their contracts, but the government shouldn't be involved in daily in the interactions of every economic transaction. The people should run the economy. You don't want a president to run the economy. He doesn't know, the Congress doesn't know, the bureaucrats don't know how to run the economy. The people should run the economy. and everybody's a consumer, which means that as a consumer, you should have the right to spend your own money the way you see fit without any interference from the government. But just as importantly, we want non-interference by our government in our personal lives. The only judgment government should make is you as an individual, when you participate in any activity, you do no harm and use no force, but make sure everything is voluntary, and the government should butt out. But today, as so often has happened in history, when there's war going on, it's necessary, they say, for the government to come in and protect you and take care of you and make sure that there are no secrets and make sure that you have no privacy. So if there's a war on terror or a war in Iraq, it justifies, so to speak, for the government to come in and say, we have to know what you're doing. And today we live in an age where the government elicits these warrantless searches. They can search our houses and our papers, and we fought a revolution for this, and they can arrest American citizens today and hold them without habeas corpus. That is the wrong direction to go. And taking care of you and protecting you from yourself, making you a better person, and they assume that the government knows how to make people better. You know, if the government can make themselves a little bit better, it might be something worth trying.